Hey friends out there in YouTube land, Rob here. Today I'm interested in talking to you about OBSBOT Tail Air, these awesome little tiny cameras right here. We're going to talk all about it. But first, what are they, right? If you've heard anything about pan, tilt, zoom cameras, I think this really is the epitome of what a pan, tilt, zoom camera is. In the higher end consumer, entry-level prosumer market, coming in at a price point around $500, I don't think you can really go wrong with these guys. The reason is because the image quality is excellent, the AI features work extremely well, and that's saying a whole lot right there, and they've got a built-in battery. They're so small, they can go pretty much anywhere, and I want to share with you how I use them on location at weddings and for bands and different things like that. But before we dig into it, I want to share with you another thing that just makes them so nice to use. And I've got three. It's the box, right? The box that it comes in, well, the case that it comes with actually protects the entire device. Now, I've gone ahead and added some things to it, or one thing to it specifically, and I've added a lavalier microphone. It doesn't really matter which one you have, but this lavalier microphone allows me to drop them from the ceiling in different places to have something other than the onboard microphones. This is a big upgrade in quality if you ask me, specifically if you're trying to mic an area. I have done some videos about them before, and for me a lavalier microphone is important because a lot of times I will place these little cameras on a clamp that I can attach to a rafter or a beam or a joist in a ceiling. And this allows me to hang them upside down, out of the way, and have pan, tilt, zoom capability. Adding this microphone allows the mic to drop a little bit lower, often allowing me to get better ambient or room tone sound, which is pretty cool. That's not the only thing that I've done. I've also gone ahead and added inside of here, the little case, just a charger. That way I always have charging capability with me. So in the case, I've got the charger and the microphone. That's what I've added. But it comes with, of course, the case and a USB-C splitter, which is awesome because it allows you to use two USB ports for the single USB connector on here. So you can run power or a microphone or run it to a webcam or an OBS studio at the same time using this over USB-C. And it also comes with a USB-C cable. This is 6 feet. And it's USB-C to USB-C, but it also has the USB-C to USB-A type adapter, which is really nice. All those things come together, and they come in a nice little case, which make this simple to use. Okay, easy to carry around. Let's go ahead and check it out. When we look at this guy right here, I've gone ahead and just added an asset tag to mine, but look how small it is. For an example, here is the Panasonic S5 and camera lens. This is the 20 to 60. It's also got the battery grip. So you see how small this is, right? Works great. And if we were going to compare it to, this is the DJI Pocket 2, about the same, well, probably the same kind of volume, a little bit heavier. Anyway, there you have some comparisons. And here it is in the palm of my hand, right? So it works great. Over here, you're going to see I've got the app set up and I'm running it through the TV. I'm going to show you some of my favorite features in the app here in just a minute. I'm also going to intersperse some video over top of this. I may not always put video over top of what I'm saying. So I might be talking about something different, but all the video that you're going to see through here is going to be video straight from the OBSBOT Tail Air, which is cool. Okay. So as we get a little walk around, first of all, this is a pan, tilt, and zoom camera. It's a completely digital zoom, no optical. It's got a 1/1.8 inch sensor, which is in the 1 inch type, but it's closer to the 1/2 inch spectrum. In comparison, I have a camcorder. I'll get it now. I'm back. This camcorder right here, this is the Panasonic HCX 1500, also known as the 2000 with the top handle, just without the SDI. And this camcorder right here has a 1/2.5 inch sensor, all optical zoom up to 600 millimeters, equivalent in full frame, and of course, excellent audio options with the top handle. I love this camcorder. It's a great camcorder, but this little OBSBOT Tail Air is actually quite a bit better in low light. Now, I do happen to use the OBSBOT's noise reduction, both for audio as well as their AI noise reduction, which is built into it. And on my camcorder, I do not. I prefer to do all that work in post, mainly because the codecs are bigger, up to 200 megabits per second, and 422 10-bit in this camcorder right here. But I wanted you to know that so that you could recognize that I like this OBSBOT Tail Air so much that I actually use it just as I would any of my other camcorders. And when it comes to low light, one of the biggest questions I get about these camcorders or these little cameras are, how do they do in low light? Well, they do great, actually. I like it quite a bit. And you'll see that with the footage that's running. And none of it has any kind of grain or anything on it. It's just a great little device. Okay, so as we look at this, it's a pan, tilt, and optical zoom 1/1.8-inch sensor, which is bigger than the camcorder that I showed you. I also have a 1-inch sensor camcorder that you know right there, and full-frame cameras. I'm a camcorder kind of guy. It's just what I do. It's got a built-in microphone as well as a built-in battery. It's going to get you 2.5 hours on a runtime per charge of battery. I find that to be very consistent after about a year of use. I can't remember exactly how long I've had them, but it's been almost a year. I know they're coming out with a new tail system, which is a bigger and optimized system from this, but these little cameras right here, these PTZ cameras, they will continue to be a big part of my live stream makeup and my on-location video program because they just work so well and they're so small they can go anywhere. As we continue to walk around, you've got your headphone jack for your microphone that can be plugged in. You've got your USB-C and your on. You've got your micro HDMI out plus the SD card. And then at the front, of course, you have your LED indicator for what it's doing. They do make a set of ND filters that go on the front of here, which are really cool. They're magnetic. I don't have them, but that's okay. They also have a 1/4-20 jack on the bottom with a plate right here, data port, which will allow it to, or power port, which will allow it to talk to the power base that they have for this. And they do have a power base. This is also magnetic down here. And I don't know that it's strong enough to hold it sideways for any given period of time, but it definitely will help it stay in place if it's put down on something that's metal. Don't put it on your computer. It won't be very helpful. Okay, we've talked about the walk around. You've seen how it looks in my hand. We've shown some video over top. Let's now continue talking about the app. I'm going to bring you into the app right now. So here we go. I'm going to kind of turn around. I want to show you some things on the screen. As we're looking at the screen, we've got all of our functions across the bottom right here will allow us to do things like change position, control the camera. I'll show you that in a moment, as well as our AI settings that we're going to use for it. As we go to the bottom right, we've got a record button. We have a monitor up here, which will show different views. We also have the different levels that we've got that are peaking right there or showing the peak, which is in the top right corner. You can actually move that around if you wish. And then over here on the top, we've got a home button. That home button will take us back to the OBSBOT Start app, and that will allow us to choose another OBSBOT Start to go into if we were using 3. The easiest way to control them is through individually through each one. Now, it takes about 10 seconds to switch. Keep that in mind. Also, I want to say there is an app, OBSBOT Live, which will allow you to see all 3 of your cameras on one network. That still isn't my favorite way to use it. I prefer to use it in the app. Okay, now that we've got that said and done, from there, we're going to have image adjustment and then playback. So let's actually look at the top right here and just kind of become familiar with that. This little dotted red line that you see going around there is actually showing us where we're zoomed into and zoomed out of. So if we wanted to zoom in right now, notice how the red dotted line has changed, and it's actually showing a different image up here. If I tap that image, it'll show us the image that we're actually seeing. Notice that we're zoomed in, and now we can zoom out. From there, we're back to our regular image, and that little red dotted line shows you where you're actually looking. That's pretty cool. I want to come over here down to the bottom. We've got 3 dots down at the bottom. And when I tap those 3 dots, this actually comes up with all the settings that we're going to use. Now, what's cool about this is you can actually purchase an NDI license for each one of these cameras that you have, and you can run this over NDI, which is awesome. I have used it over NDI with Talent, the live stream monitor recorder that OBSBOT makes, which is excellent. I've done a review on that, and I love to use it. 2 HDMI inputs, 3 NDI inputs at one time. It works very well. With NDI, you really need a 5 gigahertz network, as well as a very high bandwidth for your download and upload, because it's going to go back and forth. If you've got that and you're working with that type of system or network, you're going to be good to go. If you're working just on your cellular connection, trying to hotspot a Wi-Fi with NDI, you're going to have lag. And if you're trying to use it with Yellow Box or even Talent, the strength of your network is going to be the deciding factor. Okay, as we continue going on here, there's a few settings I think that are important to know about. NDI, RTSP, SRT, there are different streaming protocols that you can use to stream, which is really nice. And you can change all of your settings. The most important thing I think you need to remember is to go ahead and set your SD card up in order to be able to work properly. And you can change the different SD card segmentation, 32, 64, 4 gigabytes, 8, stuff like that. For me, most of the time, what I'm actually using is I come in here and I turn gesture control. All of the AI features, I turn it off. Now, I turn it off because if you've got a band or a bride or something like that, where people may be moving and making gestures, the OBSBOT Tail Air is always looking for a gesture. And if someone happens to do the pinch or the zoom or any of those gestures or the 5 hand up like that, it will begin tracking them. And it may ruin the shot that you're trying to get. So I prefer to control tracking a little bit differently, and I'll show you that in a minute. But if you were going to choose those here, you can choose the different select the target by the hand wave, the OK sign to record, the zoom sign to pinch in like that, and then dynamic zoom out and in, which works well. I have found that the gesture controls work nice. That's just something you have to keep in mind. The other thing is you've got a place here for audio. When you go into your audio, you've got built-in mic by default, but you also have audio settings. And when you have a microphone plugged in to that mic spot, you will have additional settings that pop up down here, which allow you to change the gain, but also the noise reduction for the type of audio that you're getting here. I think this is really great because it's allowed me to get some decent scratch recordings for audio sync in very noisy environments. In fact, if you're at a wedding reception, maybe it's too loud, including the music in the background, to be really usable audio. Probably, I would say so. But if you were using this for things like lectures or things I've used it for, corporate seminars and trainings that have I've been done to record and provide that video for them, it's been great for synchronization audio using that noise reduction. In fact, I even think that with Adobe's new suite of auto enhance audio, you could probably use it with that as well and have a pretty decent sound to your video. I will always suggest using proper mics and audio recording equipment and gear to get the best audio recording, but in a pinch, I think this does a good job. Going back from there, another thing I want to talk about is face autofocus and auto exposure on the face. This is important to know because when you're using face auto exposure, a face autofocus is fine because it'll try to find a face that's closest to it. And it's very smart about prioritizing one. It's not just the one that's in the center or the one that's closest. It's the one that seems to be most active, specific for bands, which works well. But when you are using the auto exposure, I have found that in a band setting or situation where the lights are extremely bright, because you've got strobe lights going on, you might even have some haze or some fog, and it might be blackout lights that get completely dark, and then UV lights and everything, that having auto exposure to the face on can cause some really crazy colors on it can cause overexposure to other parts of the scene. Pair that with HDR recording, and in lighting environments that are extremely dynamic and changing, I find that there's a lot of footage that looks whitewashed, bleached out, just it can become difficult. That's not all the footage, it's just sometimes. And as you know, if you're going to do this professionally, you want to control for as many variables as possible. So turn that off. I turn off face auto exposure all the time. ISO upper and lower limits, I don't really worry about that. I think it does a good job as it presents it to me. The next thing I want to talk about here is, well, I guess that's it. That's all I'll talk about right there. I want to come over here into our panel where we're going to change the settings for the camera. And that's through the little dots that look like little sliders. And I'm going to go ahead and tap that. When we do, you'll notice that you've got, when we do, you'll notice that you've got some things that pop up. A is for automatic. And then M is for manual. Okay, I keep it on automatic most of the time. Now, when I'm doing a wedding that's indoors, I'll put it on manual. When I'm doing a wedding that's outside, I'll do it on automatic. And I have been back and forth on auto or manual for the bands because of the dynamic lighting environments. I think I like manual quite a bit more than automatic, but I've used it about 50-50. I find that I like all of it. Anyways, even on auto, you can change your exposure value, right? You can plus or minus, give you extra exposure compensation, stuff like that. And then you've got your autofocus, single, continuous, or manual focus. I use manual focus from time to time. I think that's a case-by-case situation right there. Okay, once we've got that, the other thing to look is down here. We've got a menu that changes down at the bottom. Now, this bottom menu will tell us how to turn the HDR on and off, which it's on right now, and I can turn it off. Well, that was actually the hertz, the refresh rate. And we can turn HDR on and off by this HDR button right there. I was talking earlier about HDR being on. I like to keep it off for that reason. And auto exposure, I don't usually auto lock exposure when I've got it on auto expose. So I just kind of let it do its thing. Another thing I want to talk about is how you can flip the image. You can reverse it if you wish. And that's by one of those little buttons right there. Press the X to get out of it. We've talked about all those things, but I think the last fun thing to talk about is actually how to use the camera straight from the interface. And I've pulled up this little interface that you can see that's moving the camera around now. And it's right over here. And it's very simple to use to just get the camera to go in the direction that you need it to go, just by using this little thing like a joystick, that part that's right there. It works very well. You can change the rate in which you move quickly or slowly, but more importantly, we've actually got programmed points where we can go, and we can add another one just by going someplace and then adding a tap. And once we have that, we now have point 1 and point 2. You can do that for 3 different points, 3 different locations that you want the tail air to look at, and you can switch between them, which is really nice. Now, if I go ahead and double tap right here, it's actually going to follow me around. Yeah, I'll get up for a moment and let you see it walk with me. Okay, so as you can imagine, it's going to continue doing that as a great job. So, what have we learned? Well, I think one of the things that we've learned right now is that the OBSBOT Talent or the OBSBOT Tail Air is a really versatile device that allows you to kind of go anywhere and record what you need to record. Setting your settings are pretty simple, and some of my pro tips are how I best use it. Your mileage might vary, but I have got some excellent footage from this, and I hope that you have seen that down in what I've shown during this video. If you do like this and you want to pick up one, go ahead and use the link. It's a special link provided by OBSBOT. You can go and support the channel as well as getting one for yourself. And if you've got any questions about it, don't forget to leave them down in the comments below, or you can DM me. I'll be happy to help you out as much as I can. I really, really like OBSBOT Tail Air, and it pairs well with Talent, and that's another video coming soon. So guys, if you like this, don't forget to subscribe and comment down below. Please use the links if you want to send me a cup of coffee through PayPal. Totally appreciate it. And I want to thank you for watching. Remind you I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.